Good morning. And good morning again. Always forget to do this. Good morning. My name is Gene Langell, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living. So, good morning again. But before we go further, if you have any of those electronic devices in your possession, please put them in the sleepy mode. Thank you. I don't know how many of you read the Science of Mind magazine, but anyhow, I was I always read it, and I found this particular part. I thought I'd just like to share it with you this morning. And it's Terry Cole Whitaker. And she says you can tell your future simply by examining your thoughts. You can foretell your future simply by examining your thoughts. Where have your mind, emotions, imagination been taking you? Each person is practicing for the future, like an actor rehearsing for a play. Unless we know who we are subject to mind programming. So with that programming in mind, please greet your neighbors next to you. That seemed to work out better. Okay, good morning again. Anyhow, in a moment, we'll have Bodie. We'll go on the chant, after which Reverend James Fleener will lead us in the morning prayer. So, Bodie.
So, good morning. Hey, you want to stand up for a minute and sing a little bit? Ah, yeah. I am opening sweet sweet surrender to the luminous light of the one. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the light of the surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I am opening up in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. Guys are awesome.
And now, in that open space where we have opened ourselves up to the luminous love light of the One, I invite you to settle in to that place that brings you most close to the divine. And as we rest in that centered spot, that place which costs no money to go to, that is always there in whatever situation we are in. We bring our heart and our mind and our body, and we allow them to align in that divine essence of the luminous love light of the One. And in that space, we bring forth whatever we need in this moment. we have brought together this combination of people, singers, speakers, creators of beauty, creators of order. For us to be present to the one and to remember who we truly are. And so I just claim that this time here together in fellowship and in community bring us open hearts and open minds as we listen to Peter Canova speak of the ancient ways and the modern quantum physics, bringing them together in the unique way that his soul has been brought forth to bring to our community. And as we listen to Sam sing, bringing forth from his voice all that is needed for the good vibrations, we realize that there is really not much needed ever but this luminous love light of the one. And so I call this time together good and healing and expansive, and I let it be. And so it is. Amen. Good morning, Golden Gate. Are we here for a good time? Okay. So there's a few announcements we have, as we always have. But first we get some time with our... Do we have special music before the announcements, right? Okay. You all went over there. I was like, did I mess something up? I know I said we didn't need much, but we need something for music. And today we are lucky enough to have Sam Rogers. Sam Rogers has CDs. And Sam Rogers is known as the One Mouth Band. So what you're going to see here in an a cappella use of vibration and the gifts that were given to him is that all that is needed is present right in his voice. And so I invite you to be with us.
Thank you. And I am just singing. It's all voice here, but due to the wonders of modern technology, I also have a little box here that basically can record what I say, so I layer it up, and you can do all sorts of handy things like say, "Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, and it just keeps going and going.
I'm hungry.
But unlike
Mom,
the kids, it does have a stop button, which is very handy.
love so deeply. I could love so much. I know that I could love so many. I could love. Well, what loves do I love right now, and which loves do I let in? And when love's potential starts to spark, do I do more than just begin? Then begin. Well, we want to love beyond all reason, want to ride love's waves, yet so often seek protection when faced with the chance of being brave. Feel the pull and run away. Just try not to run too far. Those that have love's held on too much, as so many loves are. I know that I could love so deeply. I know that I could love so much. I know that I could love so many. I could love. I could love, we could love, yeah, I could love, we could love. We all know that we could love so deeply. We all know that we could love so much. We all know that we could love so many, many people. We go on and love, go on and love. I could love, we could love, I could love, we could love, I could love, we could love, I could love. Thank you.
So how's that for a one-mouth band? If you want to take it home, get the CD. Thank you for bringing a full jazz orchestra to us this morning. Good morning, everyone. Again, I am Reverend Judith Fleener. I'm the staff minister here, one of the staff ministers. Our senior minister, Reverend Karyl Huntley, is off at another community this morning, speaking and giving a workshop. And we are going to be blessed to have Peter Canova doing the same here, speaking and giving a workshop. And this is just to remind us that our community in the Centers for Spiritual Living goes way beyond this community here. That we are a community with other churches and other communities around the world. And so I delight in knowing that whoever is here today, from what other community, it is perfect for the moment. For our announcements today, I will say that Peter Canova, our speaker, is giving a workshop this afternoon. How many of you have seen a Peter Canova workshop? Can you attest to that it is pretty awesome? Yes, right? He goes into the ancient and the modern and weaves them together in a way that is easy to understand and enlightening. And so I really encourage you to, after the service, don't go too far away, maybe go right across the street, get a little sandwich from the place across the street, and be back here right at 1 o'clock for the workshop. Because he's giving it to us with a suggested donation of $15, but no one is turned away for lack of funds. And all of the money received is going to Golden Gate Center. He's not taking anything. He's giving this as a gift to our center. So please, benefit yourself, benefit Golden Gate, and let Peter give his gift this afternoon. And now I have an announcement from Marin about the human race, which you're all a member of. So you need to participate in what she has to say because you're a member of the human race.
Good morning, everyone. On May 11th, we are presenting at the Marin Civic Center in San Rafael on May 11th. And it's a fundraising event for dozens of active organizations in the county. And we intend to raise money this year to support Bodie's budget for the music ministry. Yes. So we can strengthen our service and get more exposure out into the community. And Bodie will be performing for a little bit on that day at the stage, so that'll be fun too. So here's the deal. What we're asking is, we ask you all and all of us to ask for donations from friends and family, collect checks made out to the Marin Human Race, and then this, which is the major fundraising event, and we receive back what we collect to support our music program. So there's a 5K walk or run that morning, and you don't have to even be there that day to participate in this event. You can ask your friends and family and work mates and yoga mates and everybody you come in contact with for donations. And there's an event there's a community village where we'll have a booth set up, and Karyl will be there, and we have other people that are participating to help pass out information, and anyone here is welcome to join us. And you can find out more after the service. Just find me. I'll be floating around. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. And for those of you that have never been to the Human Race, it is a walk around the Civic Center. It's beautiful with the lake. And the other thing is you get to meet all the other communities that are doing the same thing. So we are outreaching to the other communities, and maybe you'll find some new interest for yourself, a new hobby, something that vibrates your spirit. So this week, and every, second Thursday, first Thursday, Sarah, stand up. This is another one of our staff ministers, Reverend Sarah Hargraves, and her work in ministry is out in the world and in business. And once a month you have an opportunity to meet with her at El Fanayo to have coffee and conversation about the topics that we teach here on Sunday. And right now she's doing a series on working with the Universal Ways and Means Committee. And so they're on the second of the series this Thursday. It starts at 8 a.m. and goes to 9:30. You grab your own coffee, your muffin, and then you go to the back to sit with the group. And many things emerge. I've gone to her breakfast years ago in Palo Alto consistently when I was working in high tech, and the conversations were always amazing. Now, on another level, here in this community, she is going to help us with helping each other succeed. So since she's done this work in businesses around the world and in communities in the Chamber of Commerce, but we haven't really done a lot of it here in our community up until now. And so we are starting on April 28th to look at how we will assist ourselves in assisting each other succeed. And it doesn't say a time here. April 28th, right after service? Okay. Note, all those people out there online, welcome to our community. Don't come on the 28th. Come on the 27th. Come on the... What? Other way around. Don't come on the 27th. I was trying to figure out how the 27th was after the 28th. Come on Sunday. Okay, and now for the main event today. We are very lucky today to have Peter Canova speak with us. Peter Canova is an award-winning author. His book, Pope Annalisa, has won 9 awards. And recently, it has been contracted to be made into a movie. So we are very grateful for that. And what I know about Peter is that he is well-versed in a lot of the ancient traditions. And as you know today, this Celtic wheel that we have here is our wheel of the topics that we're doing for the year, right? And each week we have a different world, but the whole thing is the new world and the ancient coming together. This week, the word is vibration. And so we have this wonderful altar made by Sandra with a orchid here that represents the eye that connects. And then all the candles vibrating the light out into the world. And if you come up after service, you will see there are words all around the candles. Because it is the eye and the vibration out into the world, the light that we bring, that creates the manifest world or the words. And likewise, the words create the form. And so then there's a storm on each one of them. So what we're going to do today is have both a wonderful talk and then a workshop. And they're two different things. So some of what he will talk about today will be not in the workshop. And most of what's in the workshop is not in his talk. So don't think you got the mini version by the talk. Okay? But in the talk today, he's tying in this word of vibration and the glory that comes from the all that is, which is vibration, and bringing that forth in from the ancient, the Gnostic traditions, which for myself, when I was in ministerial school, I was so fond of the Gnostic perspective and Gnostic traditions, which are the original Christians, that I ended up starting to go to a Gnostic church for a while. So it's really fascinating. And then he brings that forward to all the modern quantum physics and links it together in a magical way. And so I would like to invite Peter to come up here, join us, and will you join me in giving Peter a warm Golden Gate welcome.
Good to go with it? Okay. Mom, I'm hungry. How come that doesn't work for me? I guess I'm the no-mouth orchestra here today. It's wonderful to be here with you today at the Golden Gate Center, or as my GPS calls it, 498 Tamale Pass Drive. Those things don't get foreign accents too well, but this is going to be one of the few talks I'll be giving for quite a while now, because my schedule, what with second book coming up and working on the movie production, is really limiting my time. But this place is special for me because of my friendship with Reverend Karyl and with Paula, two wonderful women who I'm very happy came into my life, very dynamic women. And also my family had a genesis in the San Francisco area. My grandfather, actually I was born in Boston, but that's because my grandfather got caught in the big earthquake in '06 and decided to move out of here. Otherwise I'd probably be coming to this church right now. So today I wanted to talk to you about attuning to the music of creation. And later on this afternoon, I'm giving a talk called Quantum Spirituality. Now, what does that mean? Is that kind of a slick metaphysical sales term, or is there really something of value in that for us? And I guess the best way I can describe the relationship of quantum physics to ancient spirituality is through one word, and that word is vibration. Now, vibration is not kind of a fuzzy New Age term, because physicists use it all the time. It has a very precise meaning in quantum physics, as it had a very precise meaning in our ancient spiritual traditions. And vibration is a form of energy, and energy is a form of consciousness. And vibration is really the action of consciousness in forming all that we know, the physical world, the seen world, and the unseen world. It's all done through energy and vibration. This is what quantum physics is telling us. This is what the ancient spiritual texts have been telling us for many more years than that. And maybe the easiest way to understand the concept of vibration is to use a musical analogy, use the sound of music for a minute. And if God was a guitar, it would only have one string. why is that? Well, because God is everything. It doesn't need to be more than one. There really is only one string involved. But think about it for a second. If you went out to listen to some music one night and you were listening to a one-string guitarist, it would be kind of boring, wouldn't it? I mean, it gets a little monotonous. It wouldn't be exactly the richest musical experience. Well, it wasn't the richest musical experience for the deity either. And when you want to create a melody out of that one string, when you have to have other notes, there have to be other vibrations, you see? So when a guitarist wants to change a note that he's playing, what does he do, or she do? Puts a finger, depresses it, and it limits the sound. It limits the vibration of the original string. It comes from the same string, see, but it's just a more limited form of sound, a limited theme off of that one string. So the ancient texts tell us that creation pretty much proceeded the same way, and that the one consciousness limited its own awareness to beget other conscious beings. Now, I use the word beget because in the Judeo-Christian tradition, we were always taught that creation was an act of something out of nothing. It was an act of a separate being created separate other beings out of nothing. So in the whole Judeo-Christian tradition, right from the get-go, there's a separation between humanity and between our source. But the word beget means to flow out from. You know, the word was in the Bible quite a bit, and it had a precise meaning which we've lost. But the word beget means that you create something of like kind. Something flows out of something else, but it's coming from the same source. And this is the way that the ancients said that creation proceeded, which is that consciousness, separate points of consciousness, separate vibrations, separate notes, separate dimensions of existence flowed out of one source to create the multiplicity and the great variety that we all see in the world. But that's all an appearance, because if you want to trace that back to where it came from, it all comes from one source. So the universal consciousness basically generated this world of being, both seen and unseen, spirit and physical form, and we are the parts of the whole without having the consciousness of the whole. And that's what makes us feel like we're individuals. If we say we are God, we are part of God, why don't we feel that way a lot? Well, we don't feel that way a lot because we're operating under certain limitations. Now, we can overcome those limitations, you see, and that's part of the whole purpose of life, is to overcome those limitations and expand back to the consciousness of where we once were. But there's a really fascinating story, and I'm sure most of you have either read or seen the movies Lord of the Rings by Tolkien. Well, a lot of people don't know that Tolkien did a great work that actually preceded Lord of the Rings. It was called the Silmarillion. And the Silmarillion actually incorporated the creation myth of the whole world of Middle-earth. It told about how everything in Middle-earth came to be. And Tolkien described a being called Iluvatar, who was also called the father of all. And incidentally, that's a very interesting term because that is exactly what the Gnostics called God. That was one of the terms that they used for the deity, the father of all. And he created spiritual beings which were called the offspring of his thought. Now, again, that is exactly how the Gnostic Christians described the spiritual beings that were generated from God. They were the offsprings of God's thought. And once these beings came into creation, who were conscious of themselves as being God, but also conscious of themselves as being themselves, because their consciousness was just that much more limited, that ignorance, in effect, that ignorance of God, that dark area where they could not completely know God, was what really made them individual beings. It gave them a sense of identity, knowing they were part of God, but they were also themselves. They had their sense of individuality. And he brought these beings together, and he caused them to play a great symphony of creation through vibration. But there was one being who was the most powerful or the richest in knowledge, and it started to play for itself. And it created a discordant note in the symphony. And Iluvatar, the father of all, stopped it, and he caused them to form a new theme. And again, after a while, this one being started to play for itself. And again, there was discord. And this process proceeded for quite a while until there was a physical universe starting to take shape. And God, in the Tolkien creation myth, allowed for the spiritual beings to come in and to participate in the shaping of this physical world. They actually took on bodily form, and they came into the world. But the one force of opposition continued on its own direction, and each time they would create something, there would be a cycle of destruction, and a cycle of creation, and a cycle of destruction. And this went on for thousands of years. Now, what's really interesting about this story is that it has such strong relations to the Gnostic creation myth, which incidentally Tolkien was not familiar with Hindu creation, where we talk about the Kalis, the different ages in Hindu creation, the Kalis, the cycles of creation and destruction. And it also has a striking similarity to the creation story of Edgar Cayce, the famous American psychic. Edgar Cayce told us that prior to the material world coming into existence, everything we know in the physical world existed in a spiritual form, in a thought form, and that these spiritual beings were shaping the world in that thought form, and that eventually those thought forms in that world started to congeal into what we call physical reality. So Cayce and Tolkien both told us that the world that we know was a cooperative creation between the deity and those spirits, those beings that had been projected from the deity. But there was, from the very beginning, a force of opposition coming from the other side. And largely what we know today, the psychic experiences that we have, the physical experiences we have, the spiritual experiences that we have been shaped by those forces, which seem to be opposing forces. But at the end of the day, they work towards one purpose. Now, why is it that you have Tolkien, Edgar Cayce, the Hindus, and the Gnostics all telling such a similar story about our creation? Is that a coincidence? Incidentally, Edgar Cayce, before the Gnostic texts were ever discovered, and he was asked what was the most original form of Christianity, and he said the Gnostics. And the Gnostic texts had not been discovered at that time. Came 2 decades later. Are these coincidences? There is, as they have told us, an archetypical world where the spiritual parts of ourselves reside. Now, you sit here and you think of yourselves as a body, as an identity, but behind that there's a whole chain of being that extends up to the throne of God, you see? And in that spiritual dimension, this is an archetypical dimension. It's the dimension where the blueprints of everything we know and we see are formed there. And people can tap into that dimension. And because they can tap into that dimension, you see this incredible coincidence of information coming from numerous different sources, religious sources, geographical sources, different individuals such as we've cited here today, because they've tapped into this archetypical dimension. Now, today, given the weight of material consciousness, there's a lot of theories about aliens and coming down in UFOs and, seeding the earth and, messing with human DNA. When I go to a lot of these whole life conventions or conscious living conventions, probably 3/4 of it has to do with UFOs these days. But, you know, I'd like to really ask the question, what if those alien gods were really us? You see, what if those alien gods, what if we were those gods that once walked the earth before our consciousness degenerated into identifying with the boundaries of our skin? Because, you see, the material world is a powerful force. It has its own laws. And when spirit comes in here, it has a lot to contend with. We tend to look forward into the material world because that's what we're immersed in. We tend not to see in back of us from where we came. So could it be that these alien gods that we always hear about on the History Channel and Sci-Fi Channel and TV programs and Conscious Living Expos were really us when we were once more connected with our own original source and our truer selves before we degenerated into the consciousness of materiality? Think about that for a minute. Now, if what we said is true, each of us has an unimaginable power locked inside us. If we are energy and we're vibration, as quantum physics and the spiritual wisdom texts tell us, then we have the potential to reattune our vibrations to the master symphony of the universe as it started. And with what we've learned and coming through that force of opposition, which we must overcome, which each of us must overcome in this life, because I don't know a single person who has not faced adversity. I don't know a single person who has not had some form of opposition to overcome and to grow from it. And that's what we're down here for. Because if we can reattune after being here, we can create the symphony of creation as it was meant to be played in the first place. And quantum spirituality is about using history, science, and spiritual wisdom to unlock the mystery of our being. And I really hope that most of you have the chance to join me later on today, where we're going to talk about so many things in detail. We're going to weave a tapestry together of the lost spiritual messages of our Judeo-Christian tradition, the lost women of the church, the sacred feminine, quantum physics, and talk about a roadmap of how we can take all this information and we can reattune ourselves to the music of creation. Thank you for having me here today, and I really hope most of you can join us later on, and I'll look forward to seeing you. Thank you.
Luckily, that was a short intro. Pardon me while I do it again. Sometimes the music of creation has a dissonant note. Try that one again. Technology is fun, but sometimes you just gotta
said, come ye who would have faith. Hear me, what I say now. I said, come ye who would have love. It's time to learn how to pray. I said, come ye who would have hope. It's time to take a stand now, and let's work together as we should, and fight to stay alive. I said, come ye, who would have hope, who would have peace. Doom, 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 diddy, doom, 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 diddy, doom, 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 diddy, doom, diddy, doom, doom, diddy, doom, 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 diddy, doom, 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 diddy, doom. I say, come ye who would have love. It's time to take a stand now. Don't mind the dues that must be paid for the love of your fellow man. I say, come ye, who would have hope, who would have peace, who would have hope, who would have peace.
I'd like to invite Sam and Peter back up here. If you'll just come to the front. You know, when somebody comes and graces us with their gifts, they're really giving us a mirror into who we are as individuals and as spirits. And it takes those people that are willing to come up and share their gifts that allows us to then be able to go out in the world and in our unique way share our gifts. And so in this moment right here, what I'd like us to do is give a little back to them from what they gave to us coming to our community here. And so if you two will just stand here and look out into the community, if everybody will hold their hands up and repeat after me. Peter, thank you for taking all the time to learn and digest information. And thank you for being brave and thank you for being brave. Sorry, I'll try to make them shorter. Brave. And keeping us engaged with the process of thinking. May you go forth into the world, giving your gift such that it fills your soul, bringing it into alignment with the vibration of one. Sam, thank you for bringing your gift, for learning how rhythm plays in the heart and soul, for bringing forth that which is within you out into the world. For demonstrating that it is easy to change in the moment. And bringing that grace to our community. We bless you as you go out into the world. And use this voice to inspire others. So that it brings us all back into that vibration of the one. And so it is. Thank you. And now is our time to share the vibration that comes into our own lives through our tithes and offerings. So if I can invite the ushers to come forward.
No.
And so if you'll each take your gift, your offering in your hand and hold it in your heart, or if you already tithe via the technology that's available today, just hold your own heart, knowing that this is a representation of the vibration of the energy that you have given into the world and that you have received. That there is a constant circular happening here. And so as we give, we receive, and as we receive, we give. And so I just bless this offering, knowing that it is creating the vibration that is the symphony. And we collect the gifts.
God is my source. God is my power. God is everything I need. God, I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. And I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. And I give thanks for all these blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need.
And so as we take these gifts in and bring them forth from here, going out into the world, allowing for whatever needs to unfold, we know that this is pressed down, multiplied, and flowing over. And we give thanks, and we let it be, and so it is. And so now's the time for us to stand and give our affirmation of everything that we have received to here, and to do our closing song.
Don't we have a prayer first? We have prayer first. Yes.
Oh. He did sing about praying, didn't he?
He said we got to sing about praying.
Sit
How
back
do you
down.
pray?
If I can have the practitioners come forward and invite Posey to come up and do the closing prayer.
This is the comical
Apparently
Sunday.
she didn't know.
So would the rest of the practitioners surround the room? Please. So I invite everyone to take in a breath. Let it out. Remembering that it is God breathing in and out as us, each one of us. And so I invite each one in this room and each one listening online to simply go within, to call forth an awareness within of that beloved presence, however each one of us feels it, senses it. And know that it is always, always, always present, calling forth an even greater awareness of itself through each of us, vibrating, singing its song through us when we allow it. So I invite each one to open to that divine song, singing itself as our lives, singing itself forth in expression through each one, to allow the blessing of that vibration of that song to fill us, express through us, and ripple around this planet, blessing all with whom we come into contact, and blessing on and on and on, touching, filling. How sweet it is to allow that love presence more space, more awareness within us. I bless this time together and call it good and very good. Blessed be. Amen.
And now I invite you to stand. And repeat after me the affirmation of the day. I reattune my vibrational energy to match the master symphony of the universe, of which I am inherently a part. God's wisdom and power come alive in me now. As I live as the divine being that I am created to be.
Peace
We have a slight announcement with the chairs today. Because of Peter's thing, please leave these chairs up and just stack those chairs. So leave these chairs up for the workshop. It's here, right here.